Perth-Wellington.
Speaker. My question's for the Premier. Premier, your government's 2012 budget devastated the horse racing industry. And as we all know, the NDP allowed that budget to pass, putting thousands of people out of work. You set up an expensive transition panel. You set up another new bureaucracy and a funding program with no details. You raced to the rescue of Fort Erie just days before a by-election. But racetracks across Ontario are still waiting for their race dates. Some are waiting to see if they'll even have a season. I asked the Premier, how many contracts have you signed?
Good question.
Good question.
Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I think the member opposite knows that the plan that we have put in place is a stable plan that will allow a stable plan that will allow the horse racing industry to stay on track, Mr. Speaker, into the future. The slots at racetracks plan, Mr. Speaker, was not transparent. It was not sustainable, and Mr. Speaker, it had to be changed.
Order.
We have made that change. John Snowballin and Elmer Buchanan and John Wilkinson, Mr. Speaker, worked to make sure that the $400 million that we put in place will establish that framework going forward, Mr. Speaker. So I hope that the member opposite understands that the Ontario Racing Commission announced the details of the 2014 components of the Horse Improvement Program, Mr. Speaker. We are working with breeders. We are working with the tracks to make sure that those dates are in place, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Again to the Premier. Premier, if this is a stable plan, it should be in the stable. Well, Speaker, I've spoken to the horse racing industry leaders, and they are fed up with this government's delays. They are tired of excuses. They are frustrated because they can't plan this year's season, which may or may not even exist. It's my understanding the contracts are due to be in place by April the 1st. It is now March the 6th, and I'm told that racetracks are still waiting to hear if their race dates have even been approved. When can racetracks expect to hear from you so that they can begin planning their upcoming season? When will you pick up the phone, and when will you finalize race dates?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The ORC negotiations are ongoing, and I'm sure that the member opposite knows that. He knows that it was important that we have that there be those individual conversations with each track, because each track is different. And the fact is, Mr. Speaker, the Fort Erie situation is different from the other tracks, Mr. Speaker, and those negotiations are ongoing. My intention is that we have a stable industry, Mr. Speaker, that is transparent, that works for all sectors of the horse racing industry, Mr. Speaker. I made that commitment when I came into this office. We put the panel had been put in place by my predecessor, and we have now got a plan that is sustainable, and we will be working with the tracks to make sure that they have those dates for 2014, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. New question, the member from Parkdale High Park.